Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Jamaica News in Review. Boyfriend of missing social media influencer expresses concern for his safety. Constable Noel Maitland, the boyfriend of missing social media influencer Donnelly Donaldson, has expressed concern for her safety to his attorney. That's according to Christopher Townsend, who has been retained by Constable Maitland as an investigation into Donaldson's disappearance intensifies. Townsend made the disclosure during an interview.
Extremely concerned. Several reasons, of course. Primary reasons that her safety and her safe return is very important to him. And of course, when she returns, or if she returns, then all of this will go away because he has had a very trying time. You can imagine everybody calling you, people threatening your life. Everywhere you go, you are on everybody's lips and in a negative way. So it is indeed extremely stressful for him, and it has damaged his reputation without any proof that he did anything. All of this, is really public opinion that is being driven. He has been receiving death threats from very early in the game, to the point where he's afraid to even answer his phone. Well, I've been instructed that there are at least 2 eyewitnesses who confirm that when they saw her, she was in the process of departing the premises. So you have 2 other persons corroborating what he said. I have seen the news conferences that were conducted, and I believe that certainly if it is that you're going to conduct this type of investigation, you have to do it with a very open mind, because if you don't, the would-be perpetrator might just slip through your hands. So you have to be looking everywhere. At this point, it appears, and I will emphasize that it appears that they're focusing on these 2 persons. There's no reason to remove him. There's really none. And we have to be very careful how it is that we crucify people. And this is not even suspicion. This is just public opinion. Public opinion is really, or certainly it appears, right, as it appears that it's dictating the fact.
Jamaica's Shericka Jackson smashes championship record in 200-meter final win. Jamaica's Shericka Jackson has obliterated the women's 200 meters championship record at the Oregon World Championships. Jackson, who advanced to the final with the fastest qualifying time of 21.66 seconds, bolted to a massive personal best and championship record and a new national record of 21.45 seconds to become the fastest woman alive in the event. She has now joined the world record holder Florence Griffith Joyner of the United States as the only female athlete to run a sub-21.5 clocking in the 200 meters. Meanwhile, her compatriot and 5-time 100-meter world champion Chilean Fraser Price stormed a season's best of the 21.81 seconds to claim the silver medal in the event. This is Fraser Price's second world championship medal in the 200 meters after winning gold at the 2013 Moscow World Championships. However, Elaine Thompson-Herro, who won the sprint double at the Tokyo Olympics last year, had to settle for 7th place in a time of 22.05 seconds. Thompson-Herro was seeking her first World Championship gold medal in the event. Alert residents disarms gunman after attack at bar in Westmoreland. One high-point 9mm pistol with a magazine containing 3 9mm cartridges was handed over to the police by a citizen after an incident at a bar in Darliston, Westmoreland on Thursday, July 14. Reports from the Savannah Lamar police are that about 9:30 p.m., a gunman approached another man and pulled a firearm. The other man grabbed the firearm and a tussle ensued, during which the firearm fell to the ground. The gunmen ran from the bar and escaped in the area. The police were summoned, and upon their arrival, the firearm was handed over to them. Investigations are ongoing. Thieves rob shot guard with own firearm. A security guard was robbed and shot with his own service firearm during an incident on Marcus Garvey Drive, St. Andrew, Friday night. The 32-year-old guard has since been admitted to hospital in stable condition. The stolen firearm is a .38 revolver with 638 cartridges, the police said. Reports are that shortly after 11 p.m., the guard was on his way home from work in Portmore, St. Catherine. He took a taxi from Portmore and exited along Marcus Garvey Drive. While walking along the roadway heading towards 3 miles, he was attacked by 3 men who robbed him of the weapon, his wallet and a bag containing personal belongings. Police said one of the robbers then used his stolen gun to shoot the guard in the right eye. The robbers then made off in a white Toyota Probox motor car. The guard was taken to hospital by co-workers who arrived on the scene. He was treated and admitted. Psychiatric evaluation for a 69-year-old accused of killing bedridden wife. A psychiatric evaluation has been ordered for a 69-year-old man accused of killing his 67-year-old bedridden wife. The order was made when Gregory, otherwise known as Daddy, a retired mechanic from Lionelton, appeared in the Clarendon Parish Court in Maypen on Friday. Gregory, who is charged with murder, was remanded and is to return to court on September 9. He is charged with the death of Pamela Pam Gregory, a housekeeper. The couple live on Toronto Avenue in Lionelton housing scheme in the parish. It is reported that the woman was killed about 7 a.m. on Monday, July 4. Allegations are that a grandson who was at home with the couple received a call and went to his grandparents' room and knocked. The accused opened the door and reportedly saw his grandmother on the bed bleeding from the neck. Police said he attempted to go into the room but was prevented by his grandfather. He then went to another door, kicked it open and entered the room, where he got into a struggle with his grandfather before being assisted by police and residents. Gregory was taken into custody and following investigations was charged. Man killed in Manchester crash, woman hospitalized. A man died as a result of injuries he sustained in a motor vehicle crash on the Melrose Hill bypass in Manchester on Monday morning. The deceased has not yet been identified. According to police reports, the man was driving a BMW sedan uphill towards Mandeville when he lost control of the vehicle and crashed into a utility pole. A woman who was also in the vehicle was injured in the impact. Both victims were taken to hospital, where the man was pronounced dead and the woman admitted. The incident occurred approximately 1 a.m. Gabriela Morris, new PPPYO president. Senator Gabriela Morris has been elected president of the People's National Party Youth Organization, PPPYO. 4 vice presidents were also elected at the organization's National Congress on Sunday. A general secretary and other senior positions will be filled on Sunday. Morris is the opposition spokesperson, youth and entertainment, and chairperson of the PNP's Junior Shadow Cabinet. She replaces Crystal Tomlinson, who resigned in July 2021. An official was acting in the position. The PNP is the main opposition party in Jamaica. JPS contract worker killed after bike crashes into brother's car. 35-year-old Jamaica Public Service Company contract worker Kenish Mike was killed in a motorcycle crash along the Kitson Town main road in the community of Blythe St. Catherine on Monday. The incident happened around 1:30 a.m. Mike was traveling towards St. John's Road when he lost control of the bike and crashed into a Honda motor car being driven by his brother, who was heading in the opposite direction, reports say. Other relatives were aboard the car. The Honda motor vehicle overturned on impact, but the occupants only sustained minor injuries. Mike, who was about 10 meters from his home when he crashed, was rushed to the Spanish Town Hospital where he succumbed to his injuries. Residents in the community said the crash highlights the need for the authorities to do something about that section of the roadway where numerous fatal accidents have occurred. 3 weeks ago, Jamaica Labour Party councillor aspirant for the Point Hill division in upcoming local government elections, Omar Francis, died in a crash in the area. Francis was buried on Sunday. Police probing if St. Andrew chef killed in reprisal. The St. Andrew North Police are investigating whether Saturday's murder of a chef on the Rose Hall Main Road in Lawrence Tavern is linked to an ongoing gang feud elsewhere in St. Andrew. The deceased has been identified as 44-year-old John Watson Anderson from the Rose Hall community. Reports from the Lawrence Tavern police are that Anderson was selling soup on his roadside shop when he was attacked by gunmen who shot him in the head. He died on the spot. The men escaped on foot. The police are probing if the killing is linked to the gang feud in Park Lane off Red Hills Road. Anderson was connected to a faction and relocated from Park Lane some time ago, reporters were told. Last Wednesday, 2 men were killed while traveling in a taxi in the area, an incident reportedly connected to the feud. Dead is 63-year-old taxi driver Lloyd Clark and Ron Tullo, who was in the front passenger seat of a white Probox motor car. The police believe the target of the attack was Tullo, who is known to them. 2 other passengers, a woman and a child, were also shot and injured. JPS asks Portlanders for help in nabbing streetlight thieves. The Jamaica Public Service JPS has put Portlanders on notice that it will not continuously replace streetlights that go missing in the parish. It has also appealed to the public to raise an alarm if they see individuals removing street lights. I want to make it clear, in the first instance we will replace, but anything after that is not us, declared JPS Customer Care Manager for the Area North, LeVar Allen. There is absolutely no way a street light can be taken down without another one being put up. If you see anybody at all removing street lights, take a picture of the person or the car and give it to us or your counselors. We will try and track it down. We are not going to be taking down a street lamp and not putting up another. Allen was speaking at the most recent monthly meeting of the Portland Municipal Corporation. The JPS is on a drive to convert 488 HPS lights across Portland to the more LED type of lights, but theft is a concern. According to Allen, there are 57 streetlights missing. Of that amount, 22 are LED. Other parties across the country have recently complained of streetlights going missing. Man gunned down on Red Hills Road. A 49-year-old man was gunned down in the vital Red Hills Road area on Saturday night. The deceased has been identified as Philip Wallace. Reports were that about 10:41 p.m. on Saturday, Wallace was under a shed talking with others on Green Glaze Close when gunmen traveling in a motor car pulled up and opened fire at him. He was hit several times and later died. Man gunned down in Old Harbor. A 53-year-old St. Catherine man was gunned down in Old Harbor in the parish on Saturday. The deceased has been identified as Everett Summit of a Capture Land Phase 2 address in Old Harbor. The police corporate communications unit confirmed the incident. Reports are that about 12:45 p.m., residents reported hearing gunshots and summoned the police. Summit was later pronounced dead at hospital. Family torn by grief as crash kills kids. When Amanda Wright, her 4 children, along with 3 other kids and 2 adults, set out on a trip to Skateland in Old Harbor Saturday afternoon, the excitement and joy felt by the youngsters were palpable. But the family was daunted by a horrific traffic accident on the Old Harbor main road that killed 2 children and left at least 4 others hospitalized up to Sunday afternoon. Donette Stewart, grandmother of 4 of the children, including one of the deceased, said the children were very excited as they participated and anticipated their summer excursion. I saw them yesterday morning, which was Saturday, and they run and hugged me up and say, "Grandma, Grandma, we're going to Skateland," she said. Stewart said she has a wonderful relationship with her grandchildren, who sit outside the front of the yard and wait until she comes home from work in the evenings. She was psychologically Sunday, thanking God for sparing the lives of some. I could have lost all of my 4 grandchildren and my son, stepdaughter. I said yesterday over the hospital, I will never question Jesus because God knows everything best, the grandmother said. Stewart received overwhelming support from neighbors who showed up in their numbers at the hospital, mourning the loss of the 2 children. Tamizar Blythe, 6, the youngest child for Wright, who was also the life of her household and beloved beyond measures in the De La Vega city community, did not survive the accident, neither did 9-year-old named Abigail. Little Tamizar attended De La Vera Basic School, while Abigail was a student at Bridgeport Primary School. When Wright returned home Sunday afternoon, having spent the night with another family member, she spoke in hushed tones as the crying and grief had taken a toll on her voice. She had a section of her hands down to her fingers bandaged, telling signs of the crushing trauma. Wright's first child, Commander Mullins, 13, is still being treated in hospital. So too is her 7-year-old son, Colin Bryce, who sustained a broken leg and arm. Wright's daughter, Deshoya Mullins, 10, has been released from hospital. Mourning echoes across the Spanish Town community as women and men alike wept at the passing of the 6-year-old they call Naughty, her nickname beloved as well-mannered child that she was, based on a plethora of testimonials from residents whose hearts were broken at the news of her death. At the family home, Tamizar's grandmother recounted how her youngest grandchild would wake her up in the morning, saying, "Hey Grandma, wake up, it's time for you to go to work." She was a very jovial little child. She was not a rude child. All the big man them cry for Naughty, she said. The police reported that 11 people were involved in the 2-vehicle crash. Several of the crash victims sustained brain injuries and fractures. Dr. Clark, acting senior medical officer SMO at Spanish Town Hospital, confirmed to reporters. The ones at Spanish Town Hospital are stable and non-critical, Clark said. The SMO said that 2 children were transferred to Bustamante Hospital for Children and an adult to the Kingston Public Hospital. Clark said that he was alerted to the mass casualty around 6:30 p.m. Saturday by Accident and Emergency Unit. The crash happened about 5:15 p.m. in the vicinity of the Makuk Spence St. Catherine. A 2012 Toyota Wish with 9 people aboard and a 2012 Nissan AD wagon with 2 persons were traveling in opposite directions when the driver of the Wish reportedly sought to overtake and crash occurred, said Superintendent Wellington, acting commander of the St. Catherine North Police Division. The road was wet, the cops stated. 6,000 young people to be employed this summer, says government. A total of 6,000 youngsters from across Jamaica will be engaged in gainful employment over 6 weeks under the government's Youth Summer Employment Program. According to a release, the national initiative, which is the 6th year, was officially launched at the Manning School in Savannah, Westmoreland on Friday, July 15, by Prime Minister Andrew Holness and the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development Desmond McKenzie. While said participants who will begin work on August 8 will be placed in the public sector organizations. The young men and women will earn $10,000 weekly, with team leaders earning $11,000 per week. In his address, Holness noted that the YEP has employed 27,500 young people since its inception, some 500 of whom have found permanent employment in the public sector. It is important that we acknowledge that the program continued during what we refer to as COVID-19 years 2020 and 2021. So even in the middle of a crisis, we were able to continue with the programs like these to get our young people targeted interventions for employment, he pointed out. Holness assured the youngsters that the government will continue to invest in programs that will give you a future, that will give you hope. He urged the participants to save a portion of their earnings. I understand there are many demands as young people, but I want you to remember that you are not only living for today, you are also living for tomorrow. So you have to put aside some of what you're earning today in order to be able to enjoy tomorrow, the Prime Minister said. Meanwhile, Desmond McKenzie informed the WEP participants placed in the Social Development Commission SDC and the Poor Relief Department will assure special responsibilities. The SDC will be updating its community profile. This profile was last updated 10 years ago, and some of you will have the pleasure this year of working with the SDC in collecting data that will help the government to determine its programs, he noted. Also, we're going to be assisting some of you to work in the Poor Relief Department to help to capture data right across Jamaica, he said. The minister encouraged the youngsters to carry themselves with pride and dignity as they prepare for the world of work. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.